Start the recording. Our program today is Love, Fellowship, and Homesteading. And Kathy Link is our speaker. Her title of her talk just really intrigues me. Kathy has made Galveston and RUU Fellowship home for 10 years. She says it's the longest that she has ever lived in one place. And Kathy's going to share how she sees love as the embodiment of our fellowship home, and how through its working genius, it contributes to the community. Introduce Kathy Link.
Thank you. I might need help with, am I good there? Okay, great. I'm so glad to be here. My last talk was, I think, like the third talk of COVID, so it was quite a ordeal. Mary Case had to help me use the church computer, so this is great. I did tell Fanny and Mary Case that my dog at home, the 70-pound Pitty, is quite angry at me because she listened to this talk 3 times this morning, and not one time was the word walk or outside. So when I go home, you know where I'm going to be, on the seawall. Okay. A lot of the things we're going to talk about today are so basic to our fellowship, but you can never say, I love you too much. So much of what we do here are Valentines. One of our Valentine I enjoy every week is the advertisement in the paper. And this month, Shane Koiza, Madeline put in, for our theme of love is, and it's worth repeating, know that love is a vulnerability, but not a weakness. Love is the volunteer in you that raises your hand and steps forward without being rewarded. So many of you, it's amazing. Love is a currency that functions in reverse, because the only way to be wealthy with it is to give more of it away. Again, by Shane Koiza. J.D. McClatchy, he was an American poet and head of the Yale Review for 25 years, recently passed away. But he described love in his poems this way. Love is the quality of attention we pay to things. Again, love is the quality of attention we pay to things. While reading our fellowship newsletter with attention and mindfulness, I see love in a microcosm. It reminds us of many ways to share our time and skills. The chalice circle that we do every week. The small groups next to meet to deepen and strengthen interpersonal connections, encourage spiritual growth, and provide open, supportive, and nurturing spaces. We currently have 2 chalice groups going? 3. Okay, great. Another way that we provide love is the bowlers meet. They socialize. Sometimes they drink wine. But sometimes, always drink wine. Okay. And they create bowls to serve soup for a major Jesse Trudy fundraising function. But did you know that clay is a form of therapy, which we know Madeline, who was a physical therapist, right, is in charge of that group. But clay, as a form of therapy, taps into the unconscious mind and is considered art expression. The resistance of working with clay integrates mental, emotional, and kinesthetic brain functions. Hands-on art is now a form of self-care, similar to exercising. I think I'm going to go to that group. I hate exercising. So, did you all know that? Did you all know that? When you're all drinking and playing with clay. Oh, when you're all drinking and playing with clay. The Spiritual Matters and Book Club provides an opportunity for readers to share information and the pleasure of reading. These groups can help you become a better reader, commit to reading, grow relationships, learn from diverse perspectives, and become a better conversationalist. I would read some books because I respected the leader. What do they want me to know? But in Sandra Sullivan's case, it was, why does this tiny, sweet woman want me to read the fattest, serious book? Yes? The Handcrafters Group, sometimes called Stitch and Chatter or Stitch and something else. Sewing. Also, I forgot. If you partake of the bowlers, raise your hand. Great. If you partake of either one of the book groups, raise your hand. Great. Okay. The Handcrafters Group. Sewing and other needle crafts can cause dopamine to be released in the brain. While it makes us happy, and to me, the most important thing, dopamine makes you interested in something. Have you ever just not given crap? If you sew or just be and focus, it's amazing. All of a sudden, things are worth doing again. Sewing is relaxing and can lead to steady heart rate and decreased blood pressure. Needlework has a calming effect, except if you stick yourself with the needle. Decreased stress if your mind is focused on it. The creative thinking required during sewing encourages the growth of new brain cells. Oh my God, I need some of those. And sewing encourages self-discipline, accomplishments which instill pride, and which boost mental health. How many are in that group? Raise your hand. Okay. Do you find that true sometimes? Yeah? I know you do.
Stitching is more stressful.
Huh?
Stitching is more stressful.
No.
Yes.
We have other programs as well. But they keep adding on. Sometimes I'm ignorant. Do we still have the coffee group that's on Zoom? Do we? Okay, we do? Okay. But we do have other programs that kind of come and go. But that's good. The fellowship displays our love and concern by contributing to 12 local charities through our compassionate offering. This charity is hosted by a member, and they educate us about that charity and service, and then sometimes later deliver the monies received to that program. And you can, today we had our, why are you all laughing now? Oh, well, we always give them the money, but sometimes we hand deliver it, and sometimes we even get our picture taken. And then, about 3 years ago, we did an audit, and it was interesting because Jesse Tree, we thought we sent Jesse Tree a big check. And it was during COVID, and they said, we lost it. And you know what? They did, and we went down there and gave them another check. And that's, I don't know if they still do it. You still had to check in, get your mask, and do the whole 9 yards. But it was fun. Another way, so definitely we show love in the community by the 12 charities that we feel strongly about, and 99% of the time they're local, unless there's a reason for it not to be local. 2 ways we acknowledge, and therefore 2 ways we acknowledge and say thank you and I love you are by recognizing birthdays. It's now in our newsletter. I know this morning Kathleen said, Jay, happy birthday. And he says, it is? I was like, yeah, we got birthdays. We celebrate birthdays, and Linda gave flowers to celebrate her father's birthday, even though he's passed. We celebrate birthdays to remember, acknowledge, and appreciate the life the person has who has been born. And presently, we acknowledge the monthly worship associates. This is pretty new. And these are the BMOD, the facilitator, the greeter, musician, AV technician, and Zoom host. This demonstrates a newer detail that makes transparent our realization about how we spend our time and skills is a true reflection of our love of the fellowship. So let's take a few minutes and reflect on whose love has championed you in the fellowship. Just take a moment and reflect. I think it's amazing. The fellowship is how many years old now? Almost 75, 72. Who's the longest member here? Because you were a kid, weren't you? Oh my goodness. 4 years old. That's amazing. Wow. 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 Amazing. So I know some of you have some true champions from this fellowship in your life because of the longevity. And that in itself is amazing, because just to be where we are sometimes at this age shows a lot of self-care and self-love. And sometimes that is really hard. Okay. This fellowship shows love. We cultivate our love and concern for the environment and community with the Phoenix group here biweekly. Use of native plants, our welcoming signage, and getting our accreditation back about welcoming, and the environmental use of space and products and food. In our joys, concerns, and sorrows, in our order of service, the more we share, the more we trust. When we trust, the hormone oxytocin, not Oxycontin, oxytocin is released, and that's sometimes called the love hormone. I don't know if I have any hormones left, but I some. I need some for my brain. Oxytocin has the power to regulate our emotional responses, to including trust, empathy, positive memories, and positive communication. Wow, golly. We have all felt ourselves bond closer to someone when they have shared with us. We are now working to adopt or perhaps adopt the third principle. I'd like to read it to you. Eighth principle, I'm sorry. I might have said third. We, the member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association Covenant, to affirm and promote journeying towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppression in ourselves and in our institutions. My favorite words are journeying, working, and beloved. And I think Shirley is asking for a couple people to perhaps work on that committee to see if we're going to adopt the eighth principle. And again, the UU is going forward with this because of someone, I think because it needs to be, our love needs to be transparent with everything that's going on politically and other ways, that spiritually we probably need to be more transparent. So again, this is a plug for Shirley to be on the love committee. I was influenced when I was thinking about our congregation by this book. It's called The Householder's Guide to the Universe by Harriet Fastenfest, a monthly guide on how to get back to basics and how to change the world. She uses the word householder instead of homesteader. And my daughter, who's 41, is a homesteader in the Bay Area, 4.5 acres. And I only see her once a year, but I appreciate everything that they do, her and her partner, and how much work and detail and love it is to create and build slowly. I talk to her about once a week, and she was quite upset. She has 100 chickens and geese and duck and other wild things that land on their property. And she said, "Mom, I have 1 egg, not 100. And they give to the food bank." She says, "I went out there and said, it's been over a month since winter solstice. I'm not going to feed you anymore until you start producing eggs." The next day she had 5 eggs. So, how about that? And that's the book that kind of helped me start about getting back to basics. And when we start to think about our world and love, because again, love is manifest in our labor and the fellowship. So this next part is about working genius, because so much of what we do is about work. It's really not a bad word. It's a good word. So the book is The 6 Types of Working Genius by Patrick Lencioni, and he's written a couple books. But first, I got to tell you about me, my work ethic. I'm a little lazy, but because of that, I'm really organized. And I usually go for a B plus or B. I rarely go for an A. And then sometimes I don't know if I'm like you. I get a little anxious if I don't know that my project's working out. My 2 big projects were my kids. And even though I worked pediatrics and neonatal, I'd be holding these kids and it's like, do I really have to wait till they're 18 or 21 to figure out that they get what I'm trying to show them? And they did, but it took longer than that. I'd say 25 to 30. But so, and then puppies. Oh my gosh, puppies. Yeah, they take like 2 years. So 25, 10% of their lifespan is just figuring out what they're going to do. So the 6 ways of working genius, because we all work together for this fellowship. And it's when I'm going to read the 6 ways, think of 2 or 3 that are you. And yeah, you can probably do all of them, but you probably don't want to do all of them. So think about the 1 or 2 that you like doing, the 1 or 2 out of the 6 you really don't like doing, and then pick someone in the congregation that you know likes doing the things you don't like to do. But the 6 things are wonder. You see potential. I've got to put my glasses back on, or else I can't see. You see potential, the need for improvement or change. The next one is invention. You see ideas, confirms the importance of what needs and what those needs are, and generates ideas and solutions. The third genius is discernment. You assess the merit and workability of that idea. The 4th one is galvanizing. You rally others to act on ideas, and you generate enthusiasm and action. I know our social action committee could not work without this. We just need people to rally and galvanize. The 5th one is enablement. You help to bring ideas to life by their implementation. And the last one, and probably the most important, is tenacity. You push ideas to completion and commit that those results, and you commit until those results are achieved. And I know I've worked with several of you, and you've worked with me, and you all are working geniuses in your own way. Even when you don't work, it's because you decide, not today, not today. But that's the working geniuses, short and sweet. When preparing for this talk about the fellowship, I was so amazed at how much it contributes to my well-being and in community. And y'all do this with humbleness, integrity, and love. And I thank you for that.